KLT. Follow me, I am the leader. Stepping on them like I'm coming for freedom. Watching on them for them starving, tell me who gon' feed them. They won't walk over X when you need them. Black Panther, no Disney movie. We gon' walk them down with them eagles. Free them. They say what they like it's flattery. I speak the truth in this prophecy. Stay strapped with that sword and I hide to be. Like Moses, son, so look, come follow me. Long way from that store where them palace be. I had that roll and no total, no bother me. Sitting at the top, no monopoly. I ain't the one coming follow me. Running the game so long, need a breather. Strikes on my back, let they beat him. Gotta stay strong, you must finish my freedom. Gotta stay young, let that switch off that light when they see me. I'm the ready in the game, so you better take it easy. Stepping on my toes, you don't really wanna see me. They hear that they gone Houdini. Trying to make me sin, rubbing on my neck, and I'm pop like a genie. Still on my grind, you know we bread. Running it back, and I call it that replay. I wanted it back, they on my back. They don't want to manifest them what we say.
Let me give all praise to the Heavenly Father. Kahalam no yo, Basham my shot, yo shot. We'll try to make this one simple today, family. Not too long. One sec. Okay, family. Now we go to Genesis 14 and 13. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram, the Hebrew. We know a lot of people know Abraham is called a Hebrew. And they know that they find it in Genesis 14 and 13. A lot of them don't understand where it actually comes from or what it means. Abraham is the first person called a Hebrew, Genesis 14:13. In the biblical text, what does the name Hebrew mean and where does it come from? Abraham's fifth grandfather was Eber, or Pakshad, bore Shalak, who bore Eber. Genesis 10:24. The Hebrew spelling of the word Hebrew is Ivri, and the Hebrew spelling of Eber is Ever. You know, they'll say ever, but it's Ever pronounced. When the letter is placed after a name, it means one belonging to the family of. And in this case, a Hebrew is one who belongs to the family of Eber family. But we know many don't know where it actually comes from. Even after I read that, but I'll give you some more understanding. ICR.org, Professor Pitanaru discusses the name of some of the gods attested at Eber, including LL, of the Ugaritic text, and tell us that the form Eber on LL was substituted for by Yah. It appears evident that under Eber, a new development in West Semitic religious concepts took that permitted the rise of Yah family under Eber family. It would be more correct to see it as renewed acknowledgement of Yahweh, or the God of the Old Testament, as well known, being associated with several places already known to scholars, including the God of Canaan. This indicates that the term Canaan was known much earlier than previously believed. RC.edu. Of particular interest are the names of places and persons. We find an extensive area of overlap between the Ebla tablets and the biblical text. Among the many personal names in both the Bible and the tablets are the following: Abraham, David, Esau, Ishmael, Israel, Micaiah, and Saul. We have normalized the spelling of these names to conform to the biblical pattern, but the spelling in Eblite is so close in all cases that there can be no question of the identity of the names. Because a lot of people don't know, from Asher, from Shem family, Asher ruled over in Assyria, the kingdom of Ebla, which was under Eber family. Eber was a king there. Shemite. Many scholars consider the Ebla tablets to be much too early to be relevant for Old Testament studies. After all, Abraham did not live for another 500 years. But afterward, Ebla Igret in the Bible, to Bisnado's new book, Michelle Dahoud, biblical scholar and author of the Anchor Bible Songs, argues that the careful employment of early material to elucidate later expressions and practice is legitimate. He suggests that the written documents uncovered at second millennium Ugarit may serve as a bridge between the third millennium Ebla and the mostly first millennium Old Testament. He proceeds then to illustrate his thesis by specific linguistic insights. Now, I already done those linguistic insights and the archaeology, so I know that Eber ruled the kingdom of Ebla. Asher ruled Assyria before they was conquered over. But let me go back one, right? Go down the root. Abar means to cross over or pass through, as names play a very significant role of the ancient peoples of the Near East. This name and its meaning is indicative of Abraham and his descendants. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were nomads who, by definition, are ones who travel or pass through many lands of their nomadic journey. So we get to Joshua. Now we know this. I'm giving you the literal sense of it, because this can be used as an allegory about the flood, but this is the literal context. And Joshua said unto all the people, Thus said Yahuwah Allah Yasharal, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood, even in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nachor, and they served other gods. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood, and led him throughout all the land of Canaan, and multiplied his seed, and gave him Isaac. So we know Abraham literally did cross over and come over. He was a led family. They don't know that it's just documented like that. They really don't understand it. The scholars note these things, but they don't have full sense of them. The modern English word Hebrew. You see this modern English word, Hebrew. So we know it's also a modern English word. It's derived from the Old French, Hebrew, via Latin from the ancient Greek, Hebraeos, and Aramaic, Hebraic, and ultimately derived from the biblical Hebrew, Ivri. We also say Hebrew, late Old English. So it's mostly connected to English family, this actual word, because it's transliterated from Old French, Hebrew, from Latin, Hebraeus, from Greek, Hebraeos. This spelling and transliteration of the word is English, not Greek, but it transliterates from Old French, Hebrew, from Latin, Hebraeus, from Greek, Hebraeos, and from Aramaic, Semitic, Hebraic. So it all goes back to Hebrew. Hebraic corresponding to Hebrew, and Israelite. So we know this actual spelling of this word and the transliteration is an English word, family. And it all transliterates back to the actual Hebrew language. Genesis 35:10. And Yahweh said unto him, Thy name is Yahweh. Thy name shall not be called anymore Yahweh, but Yasharal shall be thy name. And he called his name Yasharal, family. This was our forefather Jacob, Yahweh. Origin of Israelite, from Latin, Israelita, Israelite. We know that's so close in the spelling of the actual English word Israelite, family. From Latin. It just has an A on the end. From the ancient Greek, Hyphenate, which we know it. The Greek words aren't spelled nothing like the English word of that is transliterated to, so it can't be Greek. That will only be the sounding of the words, what they're trying to say. It will correlate to that sound of the spelling of Israelite. But the spelling of the word is totally different spellings. But we see Latin is the closest spelling to the actual word. Israel from the Hebrew, Israel. We're checking a few things. Hyphenates. which is an Israelite, Hebrew. From Israel, an Israelite. Descendant of Israel, literally or figuratively, Israelite. Forms of transliterations. We see there's multiple coming from the Greek to the Latin family. You even have a Latin spelling or with an S if you dig deep into the dictionaries, but we see that transforms when they bring the S on and take off the A and the I through the transliterations. We have Israelites. The name Israel first appears in 9 biblical sources in the inscription of Egyptian pharaoh Meneptah. So we was in Egypt, and before they even have the biblical writings family, they find the name of our people documented. But let's continue. Aramaic, Ebre, absolute form of Ibreya, Hebrew family. So Ibreya is Hebrew family. Ibreya, Ibreya Yashal, Ibreya Yashala. We know Israel, Aramaic. We know the correct spelling. Of Israel will actually be Yashal family. And actually, the language would be Ibreya family. It would be Ibreya Yashal. Ibreya Yasha'ala, the sons of Yah, the sons of the Father, the princes of the power. Indeed, there are 2 scripts. One is Ketab Ivri, Hebrew script, also called Phoenician or Proto-Paleo-Hebrew. Okay, we go down. The other script, Ketab Asherit, Assyrian script, is the one we know today as the Hebrew alphabet. So we know there's 2 scripts, family, but we know through the dialects there's been multiple scripts written. But these are the main 2 scripts that they're speaking of. And we know Assyrian actually comes from Asher, where the Shemites came before they was conquered over by the people calling themselves Assyrians. But originally it was the kingdom of Asher. And in there we root the kingdom of Ebla. We also have the king Eber, which permitted the rise of Yah family, which we are Ebre Yashala. But Numbers 25:14. Now the name of the Israelite that was slain. So we see this word being used. We know this English transliteration. But the name of the Yashala that was slain, but it's Israelite family because it's a descendant of. That's why they transliterated this way into this language. That's why they went to Latin to English with it, to give understanding of what that it means a descendant of the family of. We find Joshua 13:13. Nevertheless, the children of Yasha'al expelled not the Girgashites, nor the Maccathites, but the Girgashites and the Maccathites dwelled among the Israelites. So we see up top it says, nevertheless, the children of Israel. Then we see that these people dwelt among the Israelites. So we know Israelites, that there's no a descendant of Yasharal family. That's one reason they had transliterated this way into this language, to mean a descendant of. From the family of Yasharal, a descendant of Yasharal family. I'm just going into it being used. 2 Samuel 17:25. And Absalom made Amasa captain of the host instead of Joab, which was Amasa, was a man's son whose name was Ithra, an Israelite. Letting you know a descendant of Yasharal. Now we go to Jonah 1 and 9. And he said unto them, I am a Hebrew. It's Jonah. Jonah said he's a Hebrew, fam. And I am a Hebrew. And I fear Yahweh, the Allah of heaven, which hath made the sea and the dry land. So for one to say they're not a Hebrew or Hebrea family, we see that our ancestors were family. And this is an English word that was transliterated from Latin, from Greek, from Hebrew. This is the English form of the words, not Greek. It transliterated from Latin and from Greek, all the way from Hebrew or Aramaic, Hebrea family. And he said unto them, Ahaya, Hebrea. John 1:47. Yahweh saw Nathanael coming to him and said unto him, Behold, an Israelite, indeed, in whom is no guile. So we know he knew Nathanael was a descendant of Yasha'al family, from the family of Yasha'al. And we know that word is more closer to Latin than anything. But a lot of people call themselves Israelite, but don't want to call themselves Hebrew, which the actual word Hebrew spelling is a English word, even from Old English. But we know Israelite is almost direct spelling of a Latin. So how can you say you're Israelite and not say you're Hebrew? Yeah, we are Hebrew Israelite. We are Hebrew Yasha'al, Yasha'ala, if you want to use the correct words. Romans 11 and 1. I say then, has Yahweh cast away his people? Yahweh forbid, for I am also an Israelite. That's what Paul told you. Of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. That's the reason why he says of the seed of Abraham. He's letting you know he is a Hebrew. And it's of the faith. And I'm going to show you. Philippians 3. Finally, my brethren, rejoicing Ha'adan, to write the same things to you. To me indeed, it's not grievous, but for your sake. For you it is safe. Beware of dogs, beware of evil workers, beware of concision. For we are the circumcision, which worship Yahweh, which worship the Father in spirit, and rejoice in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, and have no confidence in the flesh. Though I might also have confidence in the flesh, if any other man thinketh that he hath whereof, he might trust in the flesh. I more. Pay attention. Circumcised the 8th day of the stock of Yasharal, of the tribe of Benjamin, and Hebrew of Hebrews family. As touching the law, a Pharisee. So Paul telling you, for we are the circumcision which worship the Father in spirit. He said, rejoice. And Hamashiach Yahweh shall have no confidence in the flesh. And he said, those that have confidence in the flesh saying that, oh, I'm a Hebrew, and have not the faith. Paul said, I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. He said, as touching the law as a Pharisee. He's circumcised in the flesh and followed the laws, what Paul tells him. Keeping it as a Pharisee who was over the laws at the time, family. So he telling if you think you're Hebrew just because you're circumcised the flesh, you have not that faith. Because if you're missing that circumcision of faith, which worship the Father's Spirit, it's the problem with Paul telling you. Paul telling you, he circumcises the law. He a Hebrew of the Hebrews, as touching the law. But he letting you know it's through faith. Why they call themselves Hebrews. Hebrews 11:8. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed and went out, and not knowing whither he went. Second Corinthians 11:22. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. And we know Hebrew, Hebrea trace back the Eber family. So when Abraham crossed over from the other side of the flood, the rivers, the waters family, came on over, he left the other people family. He crossed over to follow Yah into the faith. He crossed over into the faith realm. This allegory and literal. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. So he said, I'm also a Hebrew of the seed of Abraham. And he let you know he is an Israelite, which let you know he is a descendant of Yasharal. Romans 4 and 17 or 16. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace to the end of the promise, might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, before him who he believed, Yahweh, who quickeneth the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were. So that's why Paul telling you I'm a Hebrew. That's why Jonah said he's a Hebrew. Let you know they're of Abraham. They are of the faith. They're of the seed of Abraham. That particular line of Hebrews. That's why I say I'm an Israelite. Yasharal. Descendant of Yasharal family. Let you know which Hebrew he is. I'm a Hebrew from Abraham, which is a descendant of Yasharal. Romans 9 and 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites. That's why y'all who are Israelites know they are the descendants of Yasharal family, the family of Yasharal. To whom pertaineth the adoption? This is what pertains to the descendants of Yasharal. So when he clarified he's a Hebrew, he's of the faith of Abraham. He come from the seed of Abraham. But to let you know, we're from the descendants of Yasharal, which pertain to the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the servants of Yahweh and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came, who is over all. Yahweh blessed forever. But we are Hebrew, Yashal, Yashala. We're Hebrew, Israelites. Hebrew, Yashal, Yashala. Descendants of Yasharal family. The faith of Abraham, the descendants of Yasharal. The sons of the Father, the sons of the power, princes of the power family. That's a simple meaning behind it, what I'm trying to break down. I like to give all praise to the Heavenly Father. Kahalab no Yahweh, Basham Mashat Yoshat.
KLT. Follow me, I am the leader. Stepping on them like I'm coming for freedom. Marching on them for them starving, tell me who gon' feed them. They won't walk with X when you need them. Black Panther, no Disney movie. We gon' walk them down with them eagles. Freedom, they take with their life like it's flattery. I speak the truth in this prophecy. Stay strapped with that sword in the IDP. Labels and sons, so look, come follow me. Long way from that store where them pilots be. I had that roll and no total, no bother me. Sitting at the top, no monopoly. I ain't the one, come and follow me. Running the game so long, need a breather. Strikes on my back like they beat them. Gotta stay strong, you must finish my freedom. Gotta stay young, like that switch up that light when they see me. I'm the ready in the game, so you better take it easy. Stepping on my toes, you don't really wanna see me. They hit it, then they gone Houdini. Trying to make me see rubbing on my neck, I'm pop out like a genius. Still on my grind, you know we break. Running it back and I call it every play. I wanted it back, they on my back. You don't wanna follow best friend, what we say.